In this video, we explore the complete family tree of Donald Trump, from his European roots to rise as a global figure. We'll uncover who his ancestors were, where they came from, and who first made the journey to the United States. Then, we'll trace the legacy forward, exploring Trump's own children and grandchildren. The Trump family's lineage traces back to Hans Drumpf, an itinerant lawyer who settled in the village of Karlstadt in Germany's Palatinate region in 1608. This quaint village marks the beginning of the Trump family story. Located in the heart of Karlstadt, this house is recognized as the ancestral home of the Trump family. During the turmoil of the 30 Years' War, 1618 to 1648, Hans Drumpf's descendants changed their surname from Drumpf to Trump, a name that would one day echo across the world. Donald Trump's great-great-great-grandfather was Johann Paul Trump. The most remarkable thing about him is that he is believed to be the common ancestor of both the Trump family and the Heinz family, best known for their ketchup brand. He married Maria Zetzer in Karlstadt, and together they had 9 children, and the most important of them was a daughter, Charlotte, and a son, Johannes Trump. Charlotte later married Johann George Heinz, linking the Trump and Heinz families. Their grandson, Henry John Heinz, went on to become the founder of the Heinz Company, best known for its iconic ketchup. The Trump family lineage traces back to Johann's son, Johannes Trump, who was born in 1789. By the early 1830s, he had settled in Karlstadt, then part of the Kingdom of Bavaria, where he established himself as a successful wine grower. On November 12, 1826, Johannes married Susanna Maria Bechtloff in Karlstadt. The couple had several children, including Christian Johannes Trump, who continued the family's winemaking legacy in Karlstadt. Christian Trump married Katharina Barbara Kober. Together, they had several children, including Friedrich Trump. Christian Trump passed away on July 6, 1877, at the age of 48. His death left the family in financial hardship, influencing his son Friedrich's decision to seek opportunities abroad. Born and raised in Karlstadt, Trump emigrated to the United States at young age of 16. As he had not yet served the mandatory military duty of 2 years in the Kingdom of Bavaria, this emigration was illegal under Bavarian law. Only a few hours after arriving, he met a German-speaking barber who was looking for an employee and began working the following day. He worked as a barber for 6 years. In 1891, Trump moved to Seattle in the newly admitted U.S. state of Washington. With his life savings of several $100s, he bought a restaurant. The restaurant served food and liquor and was advertised to include rooms for ladies, a common euphemism for prostitution. In 1892, Trump became a U.S. citizen. Before leaving Seattle, Trump bought 40 acres in the Pine Lake Plateau for $200, which was the first major real estate purchase of the Trump family. Trump returned to Karlstadt in 1901 as a wealthy man, where he met and proposed to Elizabeth Christ. Trump and Christ married on August 26, 1902, and initially moved to New York, but then back to Bavaria, where they decided to settle. Soon after the family arrived in Germany, Bavarian authorities determined that Trump had emigrated from Germany to avoid his military service obligations, and he was classified as a draft dodger. They banished him from the country, and so the couple ultimately ended up settling in New York. Upon settling in New York, Friedrich used the money he earned, much of it from saloons and hotels in frontier towns, to begin investing in real estate. But in late May 1918, while out for a walk, he suddenly began to feel unwell and returned home to rest. By the very next day, on May 30th, he had passed away. Though initially diagnosed with pneumonia, his death was later identified as one of the early casualties of the devastating Spanish flu pandemic, which would go on to claim millions of lives worldwide. Friedrich and Elizabeth were parents to 3 children. After his passing, Elizabeth and her son, Fred, continued his real estate business, operating under the name Elizabeth Trump & Son, which laid the foundation for the Trump family's rise in real estate. In the tapestry of the Trump family's history, one figure often overlooked is Elizabeth Betty, the eldest child of Friedrich and Elizabeth Trump, and the only sister to Fred and John Trump. Born on April 30th, 1904, in the Bronx, New York, Betty's life was marked by dedication to family, community, and quiet resilience. In 1929, she married William Otto Walter, a banker. Together, they had a son, John Whitney Walter, who was an American historian, engineer, businessman, author, and politician, as well as the Trump family's historian. He also became the mayor of a small village on Long Island. The younger son of Friedrich and Elizabeth Trump was John Trump. Though he initially dabbled in the family's real estate business, John chose a different path, one rooted in science and innovation. A brilliant electrical engineer and physicist, John played a crucial role during World War II. As a key member of the MIT Radiation Laboratory, he helped develop advanced radar technology that significantly aided the Allied war effort. He married Elora Sauerbrunn, and together they had 3 children, John, Christine Philp, and Karen Ingram. John Trump passed away on February 21, 1985, in Cambridge, Massachusetts. He left behind a lasting legacy, not in real estate, but in scientific achievement and technological progress. However, it's their son Fred who takes center stage in this story, and rightly so. He was Donald Trump's father and the architect of the family's success. After his father's untimely death in 1918, young Fred took on the responsibility of supporting his family. By the age of 15, he had embarked on a career in construction, initially building garages and later expanding into residential housing. His company rose to success, building and managing single-family houses in Queens, apartments for war workers on the East Coast during World War II, and more than 27,000 apartments in New York overall. It didn't take long for the U.S. government to take notice. Fred Trump was making a lot of money, and fast. He came under investigation for profiteering by a U.S. Senate committee in 1954, and again by New York State in 1966. However, no charges were ever filed. In the early 1930s, Fred Trump met Mary Ann MacLeod, a Scottish immigrant from Tong, Isle of Lewis, at a dance party. They tied the knot in January 1936, made their home in Jamaica, Queens, and raised 5 children together. Their eldest child, Mary Ann, became a prominent American attorney and federal judge. She started her career as an assistant U.S. attorney in 1974 and was appointed to the U.S. District Court for New Jersey by President Ronald Reagan in 1983. Later, in 1999, President Bill Clinton elevated her to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Third Circuit. In 2023, she entered hospice care while battling cancer and passed away on November 13th at her home, aged 86. Frederick Trump's eldest son, Fred Jr., lost favor with his father after choosing a career as an airline pilot instead of joining the family real estate business. Both Fred Sr. and Donald looked down on his decision. Sadly, by the early 1970s, Fred Jr. was no longer able to fly due to struggles with alcoholism, a condition that ultimately led to his untimely death from a heart attack. Fred Trump Jr. had 2 children, Fred Trump III and Mary Trump. Mary, born in 1965, is a clinical psychologist and the author of the 2020 bestseller Too Much and Never Enough, which critically examines the Trump family, particularly her uncle, Donald Trump. She has been openly vocal about the family's legacy and internal dysfunction. Her brother, Fred Trump III, born in 1962, has worked in the healthcare industry. His youngest son, William, was born with cerebral palsy, requiring lifelong care. Following a legal dispute over Fred Sr.'s will, the Trump family drew public criticism when medical benefits for William were reportedly withdrawn, an episode that further strained relations within the family. Elizabeth Joan Trump, the 3rd child of Fred and Mary Trump, was born on April 20th, 1942, in Queens, New York. She is Donald Trump's only surviving sibling. Unlike her more prominent brothers and sister, Elizabeth has maintained a low profile throughout her life. She worked in banking as an administrative assistant at Chase Manhattan Bank. In 1989, she married film producer James Walter Grau, and the couple did not have children. After retiring, she relocated to Florida, where she has lived quietly, away from the public eye. Then we have Donald's younger brother, Robert Stewart Trump, the youngest son of Fred and Mary Trump, was born in 1948. Unlike his outspoken brother Donald, Robert was known for being quiet and reserved. He managed the Trump Organization's real estate outside Manhattan and was a loyal supporter of Donald's political career. Robert married twice and had a stepson, but no biological children. He passed away in August 2020 at the age of 71. Fred and Mary Trump's most prominent and fourth child is Donald John Trump, born on June 14, 1946, in Queens, New York. He is the 45th and 47th President of the United States. A graduate of the Wharton School of Finance at the University of Pennsylvania, Donald took over his father's real estate business in 1971, transforming it into a global brand known as the Trump Organization. He gained national fame as the host of the reality TV show, The Apprentice, and became the first U.S. president without prior political or military experience. Elected in 2016, he served from 2017 to 2021, lost his re-election bid in 2020, and returned to office in 2025, becoming the second U.S. president to serve non-consecutive terms. Donald Trump has been married 3 times. His first marriage was to Czech model Ivana Zelničková in 1977. The couple had 3 children, Donald Jr., Ivanka, and Eric. Before divorcing in 1990, Trump's widely publicized affair with actress Marla Maples. He married Maples in 1993, and they had 1 daughter, Tiffany, who was primarily raised by her mother in California. Their marriage ended in divorce in 1999. In 2005, Trump married Slovenian model Melania Knaus. They have 1 son, Baron. When Trump assumed the presidency, Melania became the First Lady of the United States, one of only 2 First Ladies born outside the country. Now, let's talk about Donald Trump's children. His eldest son, Donald Trump Jr., often referred to as Don Jr., plays a key role in the family business. He serves as a trustee and executive vice president of the Trump Organization, managing the company alongside his younger brother, Eric. In addition to his business responsibilities, Don Jr. also appeared as a boardroom judge on the reality television show The Apprentice, which featured his father. In 2003, at the suggestion of his father, Donald Trump Jr. began dating model Vanessa Hayden, who had previously been in a relationship with a Saudi prince before the events of September 11th. The couple married on November 12, 2005, and went on to have 5 children: Kai, Donald John III, Tristan, Spencer, and Chloe. Kai Trump was introduced by her father and spoke at the 2024 Republican National Convention on July 17th. In 2018, Trump Jr. started dating Kimberly Guilfoyle. The two reportedly became engaged on December 31st, 2020. However, news of the engagement was not made public until January 2022. Trump Jr. and Guilfoyle mutually ended their engagement sometime in 2024. Donald Trump's second child, Ivanka Trump, served as a senior advisor during her father's first presidential administration and was the director of the Office of Economic Initiatives and Entrepreneurship. Before entering politics, she held the position of executive vice president at the Trump Organization. In 2009, she married real estate developer Jared Kushner, converting to Judaism prior to their wedding. Kushner also served as a senior advisor in Donald Trump's administration and led the Office of American Innovation. Together, they have 3 children: Arabella, Joseph, and Theodore. Eric Trump, the third child of Donald Trump, is a businessman and serves as executive vice president of the Trump Organization. He oversees the company's real estate and development ventures alongside his brother, Donald Jr. Eric is married to Lara Trump, a former television producer. The couple has 2 children, a son, Luke, and a daughter, Carolina. Now let's talk about Donald Trump's children from his other marriages. Tiffany Ariana. She was born on October 13th, 1993, is his 4th child and the only one from his second marriage to Marla Maples. Born in West Palm Beach, Florida, Tiffany was primarily raised by her mother in California. She briefly explored careers in music and fashion before becoming involved in politics, supporting her father's presidential campaigns. In 2022, she married Michael Boulos, the son of Lebanese billionaire Massad Boulos. Finally, Donald Trump's youngest child is Barron Trump, his only son with his 3rd wife, current First Lady Melania Trump. Barron recently graduated from high school. During his father's presidency, he remained largely apolitical and out of the spotlight, with Melania making deliberate efforts to shield him from public and political exposure. His upbringing has emphasized privacy and education. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment with your thoughts, and share it with others. Thanks for watching.